So today we're going to be looking at some very highly requested things, and that is just in general when people tweet at me CBS mock drafts. Now, I tweeted about this earlier because people were sending it to me. Also, a couple quick announcements at the start of the video. We got versatile weapon merch out there. If you're interested in the design, they're on shirts, hoodies, long sleeves, things like that. So I know there's a huge versatile weapon meme on the channel. We're rocking and rolling with it. Had this designed up. Took a couple weeks. But I think the design is really, really cool, and it looks great on a shirt or a hoodie, both of which are being shipped to me as we speak. And also, I know there are a lot of guys who are just interested in Madden content. I recognize there are a lot of people that are in the middle as well. You guys like the football content. You like the Madden content. You like both. You watch both. And I recognize there are even people who are just here for the football stuff. But if you are interested in Madden, off-season stream is tonight, probably closer to 8:30 Central Time. So I tweeted this out earlier, but you guys happen to get this because I'm recording this video now, just before 7. But, so yeah, so as you're watching this, there's a good chance I'm live with the off-season stream. If you can't watch it, it will be up on YouTube probably as early as tomorrow, the 26th. But let's get into it. I also tweeted about Chris Trapasso, is what I wanted to say, because people are tweeting about how bad his mock draft was, and I said, oh, I know about it, because he had Chris Boyd in his mock draft in the first round. Granted, it was in December. In the first round, and being a Texas fan, I'm like, Chris Boyd is terrible. He's really, really, really awful. So I challenged him on it. He goes, he could go in round 1. Yes, he's very good. And then so I just kind of bullied him for like not really no reason, but when Chris Boyd didn't go in the first round, obviously, I think I started tweeting at him. And then when he wasn't gone by the 4th round, and then when he wasn't gone by the 5th round, when 160 picks had gone by. So anyway, we're going to be looking at one of his mock drafts today. And also Ryan Wilson, Josh Edwards are in the 3. And let's just talk about them all at once. These are going to get a little bit crazy. Let's take the first 4 picks. So we got Trevor Lawrence across the board for number 1. Obviously makes sense. I think that's definitely is going to be what happens. Ryan Wilson has the Panthers trading up to number 2 to take Justin Fields. I really don't have a problem with this. I think it's certainly in play. If the Panthers have Justin Fields as the second best quarterback in the class, why would they not try to make a move up for number 8 and jump like their division rival in the Falcons? Maybe the Dolphins aren't trying to trade down in that scenario. I think a trade up for Justin Fields makes sense. Zach Wilson, number 2, also makes sense. If the Jets are committed to Sam Darnold, obviously the trade up makes more sense. But if they're not, which I think is even more likely, Zach Wilson certainly makes sense. Zach Wilson again for Josh over there. Number 3, we have Jamar Chase for Ryan Wilson. This one definitely makes some sense. Dolphins could use a big-time receiver. They brought in Will Fuller, who stretches the field a lot more. So this one definitely makes more sense to me now that they have a deep threat, field stretcher type player, someone that can create a little bit of separation. So Jamar Chase, I think, makes sense. Without Will Fuller, I probably wouldn't like this pick as much, but I think he definitely changes some things. Trapasso over here has the Dolphins taking Justin Fields. You might value Justin Fields as a better player than Tua. I just think that the Dolphins are committed to Tua. They took him top 5 in the draft last year. And did they expect to be picking number 3 overall from the Texans? Probably not. So if you were not convinced Tua's the guy, I guess it would be a good time to go out and make a trade. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think the Dolphins are committed to Tua. I think they're going to rock with Tua Tagovailoa. So Justin Fields to me doesn't make sense if I believe that, but you never know, I suppose. Penei Sewell to the Dolphins at number 3 from Josh Edwards. People were really getting on me for making Penei Sewell drop and Micah Parsons dropping and Jalen Phillips dropping, but there are some questions about their character, I suppose. So like Penei Sewell, maybe being the best player in the draft is not certainly what it is, especially when he's maybe not even as good of a player right now as Rashawn Slater. I think Sewell's going to fall in the draft a little bit if he doesn't get taken by the Bengals at number 5. I think you could see him falling to number 10, but probably not escape the top 15. I think that Micah Parsons could fall into the late first. And even with a guy like Caleb Farley now who has no character concerns, but with injury, he's another guy who could definitely drop to the end of the first round, if not into the second. But Sewell, I mean, I could see the argument for it. I don't necessarily think it's going to happen. Kyle Pitts at number 4 to the Falcons. You know, if we value him as a versatile weapon, merch link in the description, it makes sense for the Falcons. They don't really have a tight end. Kyle Pitts can line up at tight end, take a little bit of the heat off Julio. And Julio's never really been a big red zone type threat anyway. There's been so much attention on him anytime they get into the red zone. Kyle Pitts can be your dynamic red zone threat. So I think that's a solid fit for the Falcons. He might be the second best pass catcher in the draft anyway. Of course, you probably know that my number 1 pass catcher in the draft is Jalen Waddle. I really don't mind that for the Falcons. Like, just best offensive player available, potentially. It's kind of weird to see Waddle going that high, but I think he's that good of a player. So I'm really not stressed with this. It is a little surprising to see him be the first receiver off the board, but I do value him as the best receiver in the class. I think that teams certainly could, and we know that a lot of guys already do as well. People have jumped on the Jalen Waddle bandwagon pretty quickly. I don't really hate this. I just feel like they'd probably opt to go more for a defensive player here or trade down than to take offense. So Pitts and Waddle, while they make sense, you know, I don't know if they're the best fits, but it's a mock draft. Who really knows what's going to happen on draft night? And then the Broncos trading up to number 4. So in every mock draft, 2, 3, and now in the 4th pick at the draft, we have a team trading up to that spot to take Justin Fields. But the Broncos are in a position where they can be a contender. Fields is sitting there on the board. The Broncos, I don't see why they wouldn't try to make a move up. They've solidified their secondary, bringing back Kareem Jackson. They re-signed Justin Simmons long-term. They brought in Kyle Fuller for a year. They have Bryce Callahan, who's one of the game's best slot corners. Michael Ojemudia could have been worse last year. He was pretty good for a rookie. The Broncos are getting a lot better. And if they're a quarterback away, maybe with guys taking steps up, trade up for a quarterback. I love it. Ryan Wilson has the Bengals taking Jalen Waddle. I just don't think that a receiver is the biggest focus for the Bengals. I think Waddle definitely fits. He's like, I think Bengals fans would be thinking it's John Ross all over again, but I don't really find that to be the same. I know they have T. Higgins. I think he's a solid outside receiver. Tyler Boyd's really good in the slot. For that reason, unless they view Jalen Waddle as an outside guy, even though he's just a really, really good slot player, maybe they'd opt to go with a guy like Rashawn Slater, who's available, maybe even Penei Sewell. If you're looking at offensive line, which is still a big need for them, Josh Edwards says O-line. I think Rashawn Slater certainly makes a lot of sense, especially with Sewell off the board. I think that certainly makes sense. And then Jamar Chase of the Bengals. I like reuniting with Joe Burrow there. Another outside receiver. Take some of the heat off T. Higgins. Again, Tyler Boyd in the slot. I think they probably should look to go offensive line. I like Kyle Pitts as a natural fit there to play tight end, but Jamar Chase is the pick. I really don't hate any of these too much so far, but I think the worst pick is probably Justin Fields, just because I think the Dolphins are committed to Tua. At number 6, we have the 49ers trading up for Zach Wilson. If Zach Wilson's on the board at number 6, absolutely, the 49ers should make a move up. Like, absolutely. Absolutely. Trey Lance to the Panthers. Panthers traded up one spot to jump the Lions. I'm not really sure what the point of that is, unless other teams are trying to trade up to the Lions spot. Maybe that's the logic there. I just think that, I don't know, it doesn't really make a ton of sense on paper, but again, Trey Lance could be very easily the 3rd or 4th best quarterback in the draft, and he's a really good quarterback, a ton of potential. Panthers could be a QB away in the near future. So Trey Lance there to the Panthers. I really don't hate it. Kyle Pitts to the Eagles. I really don't hate it. Now, what did I do here? At number 8, Mac Jones. We have, why? Why would they do this? Why would they do this? Why would they do this? The Jets, who are taking a quarterback top 10, pass on the second best QB in the draft, whether that's Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, or even Trey Lance. They pass on the second best quarterback in the class, trade down and take Mac Jones. Why? I'll never know. I'm sure in this mock trade, they got extra picks to move down from 2. But if you're taking a quarterback anyway, you want the best one available, and they pass on all of them. to get Mac Jones, but I couldn't not react to this. Lions taking Devontae Smith. They could really use a receiver. Devontae Smith is a solid player. I have no problem with that. Jamar Chase falling to 7. I think it could certainly happen. Lions taking him makes a lot of sense to me. Mac Jones, though, at 8. The logic there from the Jets just makes no sense. Kyle Pitts to the Eagles. They trade down from 6. Maybe still get the player they wanted at 6 anyway. Makes sense to me. Lance falls naturally to the Panthers. They take him. I like it. At number 9, Farley is just probably not going to go top 10 with a back injury now. It just probably is not going to happen. He's probably going to fall a decent bit with durability and injury concerns. But he's a good enough player to go at that spot. But the Broncos do not need a cornerback in the first round probably anymore. So I don't love the pick. Sewell to the Broncos. If they find him to be best player available at number 9 overall, you could look to upgrade the offensive line. I don't hate this. Maybe play him at, I guess it would be right tackle. Or maybe even left guard. But I don't know. That's kind of a weird one for me. I feel like the Broncos would be in a natural trade down spot now based on the adjustments they've made. Because if they can't get one of the top quarterbacks, if they're not moving up, you might as well move down if you're Denver, in my opinion. Patriots trading up top 10. They're not a team that usually trades up, and they're trading up for Mac Jones. Kind of a weird one. That is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 quarterbacks going top 9. It would be unprecedented, but this is one of the better quarterback classes we've seen in a really long time. I really don't see that move happening. I don't think the Patriots are going to move up for Mac Jones. I don't think that's going to happen. Penei Sewell to the Cowboys at 10. If he falls to 10, I think it certainly makes sense for the Cowboys. Offensive line has been a big concern for them lately. Durability is a huge problem for Tyron Smith. L. Collins missed a considerable amount of time. And you could also maybe even look to play him at left guard immediately. I think that's a solid fit. Trayvon Merrick's not going top 10. It's just not happening. If any team's going to take him top 10, I guess it would be the Cowboys who need safety. Safeties just really don't go that high anymore. Like, we see the rare safety going in the top 10, like Jamal Adams. But Derwin James didn't even go top 10. And Derwin James was a good of a safety prospect as we've seen in a while. Trayvon Merrick is just not going top 10. He's a good player. He's not going top 10. Patrick Surtain going at number 10 makes fine sense to me. Arguably the best corner in the draft. I think that's fine. Chris is starting to get a little bit wild. Giants at number 11, my favorite team. We have 2 guys saying Micah Parsons. Again, I think Micah Parsons is going to fall due to character concerns. And it's not only the stuff at Penn State with the hazing and all that. It's also how much does he even love football. There are reports about that. I'll tell you right now, he's probably not a culture fit for the Giants because of that. So I really don't see that being a fit. And then Azeez Ojulari going at number 11. Man, I would hate this for the Giants. He's just not a top 11 type player. He just isn't. Rashawn Slater's on the board. That'd be my pick for the Giants based on the way this draft has gone so far. Azeez Ojulari, I think, is a solid edge guy. I like Azeez Ojulari, but he's not really a super bendy player. You hear some guys saying he's bendy, but he takes good angles off the edge. He's not really a super bendy guy, so I don't really like that for the Giants at 11. Even though edge is a need, he fits the 3-4. Eagles move down. They get Patrick Surtain. I think it's exceptional value for the Eagles. I think I said Eagles first time yet. I think it's exceptional value for the Eagles. 49ers taking Richie Grant at 12. There's just no shot. Chris, man, you're overvaluing these safeties a lot. You're overvaluing these safeties a ton. Richie Grant has nickel flexibility. Showcased he can play man coverage at the Senior Bowl. I like Richie Grant a lot as a player. He's not going top 12. There's no shot. Jalen Waddle of the 49ers. If he falls to 12, I think it's a decent pickup. I think wide receiver is not the biggest concern of the 49ers. And based on the way the board is shaping up, take a cornerback. Doesn't have to be Caleb Farley with injury. But you got to go J.C. Horn there at number 12 if you're San Fran, I believe. Bears traded up for Trey Lance. Yeah, if Trey Lance lasts at 13, I don't believe that he will. But if Trey Lance lasts at 13, definitely I can see the Bears making a move up for him. I really don't think he's going to last. Christian Darrisaw at 13 is a pretty natural fit. J.C. Horn to the Chargers. Cornerback is a little bit of a need for them. I would more likely, I think, see them going offensive line, maybe even wide receiver if the right one fell. But I don't hate the pick. At 14, Rashawn Slater's available. I don't think he will be, but that's an excellent pickup for the Vikings. Kwity Paye to the Vikings. It's an okay fit. Rousseau to the Vikings. I don't think Rousseau is going to go quite that high, but if a team sees his potential, he could go even higher, although I find it unlikely. I'm just trying to see where these offensive linemen are. So Christian Darrisaw is his first offensive lineman not named Penei Sewell off the board. If you're the Chargers there, you got to go Rashawn Slater over Christian Darrisaw. I think there's even a very good argument to be made for Elijah Vera Tucker, who goes at 15 to the Patriots. There's just no shot. There's no shot. I don't know why the Patriots do that. With now one of the best offensive lines in football, they have Isaiah Wynn at left tackle, who is unproven, but it should be solid. Left guard's locked up. Center's now locked up with David Andrews coming back. Right guard's locked up. Shaq Mason. You brought Trent Brown back. I mean, with Michael Onwenu playing left guard, I don't know why Elijah Vera Tucker would ever be the move there. Unless you say we're not going to bring back Isaiah Wynn after next season and Elijah Vera Tucker's going to start at tackle or Michael Onwenu's going to slide out there. I don't like the pick for the Patriots. J.C. Horn, I think, would make a ton more sense at that spot. I think Greg Newsome makes a ton more sense. Cornerback's going to be a need for the Patriots, especially if they don't bring back J.C. Jackson, who they put like a second-round tender on. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, I think that's a solid pick for the Patriots. Linebacker that can cover, play some safety. Now, I think that they probably already have a guy in Kyle Duggar that would play a very similar role to Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. So I don't love the pick for the Patriots. But I don't think it's the worst one. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, JOK, could be the number one LB in the class. Could just see his value long term. But I'm not sure he's a traditional Mike. I know he's not. And Kyle Duggar's certainly not. And I don't think he's a safety. So I'm not sure what the role is there. Falcons moved down for Elijah Vera Tucker at 15. Who moved up? They traded down twice. From 4 to 9, and then Patriots. So the offensive line for the Falcons really hasn't been that good. I think that's an underrated pickup. They have invested some first-round picks in offensive linemen somewhat recently in Caleb McGarry at right tackle and Chris Lindstrom on the inside. They lost Alex Mack to the 49ers. Vera Tucker, more of a left guard than anything probably, but I don't love it for the Falcons. He's a good player. It might be best player available. I think you'd probably opt to go defense there more than anything. We do have some drops for Caleb Farley finally. J.C. Horn at 16, perfect fit. I mean, the Cardinals got to go cornerback, I think. Their cornerback group is just so poor. And maybe you take a shot at Farley with his injury concerns now. I think he's probably going to fall even a little bit further than this. Raiders going to Azeez Ojulari. They got their edge help in Yannick Ngakoue. Cleveland Ferrell took a step up last year. Max Crosby's pretty good. I don't think that the Raiders are looking edge round one anymore. Rashawn Slater, if he falls to 17, is a great pickup. Their offensive line is completely depleted now. Plug-and-play player anywhere across the offensive line. I think that's a fine pick. Devontae Smith at 17. The Raiders do have a hole at wide receiver now that Nelson Aguilar is left, but with a healthy Bryan Edwards, with Henry Ruggs looking to get more involved, with Hunter Renfrow in the slot, with Darren Waller as essentially a fourth receiver, I'm really not sure the Raiders would look to go wide receiver there. I'd be surprised. Dolphins going Travis Etienne. I think that's probably about as high as he would go. Maybe see the Cardinals consider a running back at 16, although I would doubt it. But Etienne of the Dolphins makes sense. They're a pretty good team now. Missing a running back for sure, so Etienne makes sense. Rashad Bateman at 18. Well, in this scenario, they went quarterback, so getting a big-time receiver makes sense in this scenario. And then Kwity Paye could be best player available falling to the Dolphins at 18. I don't mind it. Offensive line across the board for the Washington football team here at 19. I don't mind it. However, it seems like Washington football team is okay with their tackles at the moment, even though I'm not a particularly huge fan of them. But I think this is a solid pickup. Darisaw, Jenkins, Darisaw makes sense to me. And man, Chris really loves these safeties. Andre Sisco's not going first round. I mean, I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked. If he goes top 20, whew, I would be absolutely shocked. Kwity Paye to the Chargers. Chargers could use edge help with Melvin Ingram leaving the team. I mean, they're going to have Joey Bosa long term, but Kwity Paye is a solid edge guy. And then Greg Newsome at 20. I like Greg Newsome. They cut Kyle Fuller. Greg Newsome could go top 20. He's that good of a player. Solid cornerback at now a position of need for Chicago. Jalen Phillips is a pick twice here for the Colts. They do need edge help. He's another player who's probably going to drop, maybe even out of the first round. He's already retired from football once. He's had a ton of concussions. Even though I think he's the best edge player in the draft, he's a risky pickup. Maybe he's worth the risk there at 21. Rondale Moore to the Colts at 21. Rondale Moore is a freaky athlete. I wouldn't be shocked to see him go round 1. Maybe this is your T.Y. Hilton replacement. I don't hate that. I think they should look to go offensive line there, especially with better offensive linemen still available on the board in this scenario. Rousseau to the Jets. He's worth the shot there at 23, in my opinion. J.O.K. falling at 23. Maybe best player available. They need cornerback so badly, but some of the good ones are already going. Surtain gone. Horn gone. Farley gone. Newsome gone now. Wouldn't exactly shock me. Tevin Jenkins to the Titans. I kind of skipped over them. Asante Samuel Jr. I could see him going first round, honestly. It would surprise me a little bit, but I could see it. He's a really good player. Titans need corner. Greg Newsome's really good. I like that for the Titans. Sam Cosmi. Steelers need O-line pretty badly. Jalen Phillips. Edge replacement perhaps for Bud Dupree. That's fine. Landon Dickerson. This is probably about as high as the center would go, and they could use a center replacement for Maurkice Pouncey. Christian Barmore. Maybe best D lineman in the class on the interior. Jaguars could use help at that position. Patrick Surtain is not falling at 25. The fact that we have these safeties going high, if Andre Sisco goes before Patrick Surtain in the draft, I will donate $500 to the charity of Chris Trapasso's choice. There's no shot. Trayvon Merrick at 25 is a good fit for the Jags. I think that's probably about where he's going to go. Zaven Collins to the Browns, I think, is a fine fit. Carlos Basham, I think, could be a round 1 player. I think that's a fine fit on the edge. However, I don't really find him to be an edge guy. I think he's more of a versatile defensive lineman that could be asked to move around. But I still think it's a good fit. I just don't view him as an edge, per se. I think he could play edge in a 4-3 like the Browns have. I think he's going to be asked to move around. And then Christian Barmore, Browns could use Z-tackle help for sure. Lost the beast out of Charlotte in Larry Ogunjobi, so that makes sense. Terrace Marshall to the Ravens. Not the type of receiver the Ravens need, in my opinion, but is a good player, probably about the range that he's going to go. Kadarius Toney, I think, is a much better fit. Someone that creates separation at an elite level would be a huge slot upgrade right now, and probably the best receiver on this Ravens team. I prefer Kadarius Toney right away to Hollywood Brown, and that's just my preference. Mac Jones to the Saints. If he falls to 28, I don't think he will, but if he falls to 28, Saints could use a quarterback upgrade long-term. I'm not sure that Jameis Winston's a guy, even though I do like Jameis. I think he's better than given credit. Asante Samuel Jr. could be best player available. Saints need corner. Kadarius Toney fits the Saints. Saints just could go best player available, so whatever position there just kind of makes sense to me. Rondale Moore to the Packers. I like this a lot. Elite with the football in space. Really good speed. He's not really a fluid receiver. Like, his hands are not perfect. They're a little small, probably, in fact, and that's noticeable on tape with some concentration drops. But Rondale Moore is as explosive as a player as you're ever going to find. He could definitely go round 1. Micah Parsons at 29. I think he will fall. Does he fall this far? Maybe, maybe not. I think this is about the tail end of his spiral, probably. But to the Packers makes sense. Grabbing best player available. Micah Parsons is really good. The only reason he's dropping is because of character concerns. And I'm fine with that at 29. Jamin Davis at 29. I like that. Makes sense to me. Jamin Davis could be one of the top linebackers in the class. Packers need linebacker. Tyson Campbell to the Bills. I know he's getting a lot of hype of late. I don't view him as one of the top corners in this class. He's probably around the top 5. I'll have that video out probably in less than a month, hopefully. Got to get to cornerbacks. Joseph Osai to the Bills. They could use edge. He fits a little bit as someone that can play off the ball and rush the quarterback. The Bills are a 4-3, though. He's more of a 3-4 guy, in my opinion, for the same reason as he's Ojulari. Doesn't make a ton of sense. And then Chiefs going Tevin Jenkins, immediate starter at right tackle to replace Mitchell Schwartz. Love it. Ifeatu Melifonwu for the Chiefs. They could use corner. I think offensive line's probably more of a fit here, maybe IDL even. And then Jalen Mayfield for the same reason that Tevin Jenkins makes sense. He makes sense. Tevin Jenkins, I think, is going to go a lot higher. And then Najee Harris to the Bucs as your Leonard Fournette replacement. And he's probably better than Leonard Fournette. I can tell you is because he can catch immediately. Zaven Collins, maybe best player available. Versatile outside linebacker. I think the Bills have, or the Bucs have bigger needs right now than him. Like a Jason Owe type player maybe makes sense because he's an edge guy. Kind of weird mock drafts, man. I mean, Chris Trapasso just has reaches all over the place. I mean, he had Chris Boyd round 1. He went in the 7th. Like, we know what Chris Trapasso is about, but, like, some of these picks are just ridiculous. A lot of them make sense. It is a mock draft. We got to remember anything can happen in the draft. But these guys on CBS are on some other shit. I'm not even going to lie to you. But that's going to do it for this video. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. And I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.
I hit it at the park, bend bones. See me high step to the end zone. My life like a game, Nintendo. Playing with the best, let them know. Get off the track, the train's coming through. Yeah, promise you get in my way, then you best believe I'ma just run over you. Yeah, yeah. Papa turn taking it back to the house. Defensive joke, I'm laughing so loud. Speedbird's good.